يا راغبا في كل علم نافع.
ينمو العلم ويتقدم بتقنياته ومجالاته، ومعه نطور أدواتنا في تقديم العلم الشرعي. أكاديمية
زاد أكاديمية ينبوعها صاف ليروي غلة الظمآن. وتعلم الفقه الميسر عاملا بالشرع دون تعصب لفلان. بشرى لنا زاد أكاديمية للعلم كالأزهار في البستان.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وآله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهداه. أما بعد. We move on to the fourth category of zakatable wealth, which is the zakat on livestock, known as al-an'am or bahimatul an'am. And this is referring to camels, cows, cattle, and sheep, which include also goats. Allah Azza wa Jal says, lawful for you are all livestock animals, or bahimatul an'am. Why do we call them bahimatul an'am? Because they don't speak, and this is part of their being lack of, from al-ibham in Arabic, which is lack of clarity and ambiguity. So it's something that is not clear. And of course, animals don't talk in a language that we understand, so we call them bahimatu al-an'am. Now, this livestock fall into different categories. One of them is trading goods. So this is dealt with as trading goods. If I have one single sheep or I have a gazillion sheep, if I'm preparing it to sell and buy, this is trading goods. It falls under the previous category which we spoke about earlier. Category number 2, grazing flocks. And this is known as as-sa'imah. And this refers to the zakatable livestock, as we will come to explain later on. And pay attention to grazing, because this is one of the conditions for it to be zakatable, that it grazes, it goes on its own and eats from the grass and the plants that are planted in the open. So I don't feed it myself. I don't buy hay or whatever to feed it. Rather, it feeds from whatever is found by grazing. Number 3, livestock that is kept by the owner for their milk, for their wool, for their meat, for any other purpose. And this is the type of livestock I personally feed. So I bring for them myself whatever they feed on, and I pay that by cutting the grass or the likes and feed it on regular basis. So this has no zakat on it, even if I have 10,000 of it. The fourth category are animals that are hired out. So I have a number of camels, but I hire them to carry people's properties or to take them from point A to point B. There is no zakat on such animals or livestock, but the zakat is on what I get in exchange for such hiring, the money, if it reaches a threshold and a full year passes while it is in my possession. Now, what are the conditions of zakat So that must be fulfilled in order for the livestock to be zakatable. Number one, the livestock should reach the threshold. And the threshold for camels is minimum 5. For cows, minimum 30. For sheep, minimum 40. And there are a number of hadiths covering this, where, for example, the Prophet says, alayhi salam, there's no zakat due on fewer than 5 camels. So if you have 4 camels, there's no zakat, even if it's grazing. And also in the hadith of Mu'adh, when the Prophet ordered him to take from every 30 cows a 1-year-old cow, and from every 40 cows you take a 2-year-old cow from that. And also the Prophet said, alayhi salatu in another hadith, if the grazing flocks of a man consists of less than 40 sheep, there is no zakat due on it. So this is condition number 1, that it reaches the threshold or the nisab. And the nisab is by number. 5 in camels, 30 in cows, 40 in sheep. Condition number 2 is that a full lunar year passes from the day you possessed this threshold without it being reduced. So for example, I started the lunar year, the Hijrah year, 1st of Muharram, having 5 camels. 6 months down the line, one of them died, or I sold it. Then this was interrupted. The moment it reaches 5 or more, again, this new year starts all over again. So we spoke about this earlier, so I don't think we need to repeat that again. The hadith also of the Prophet ﷺ, no zakat is due on wealth until 1 year has passed since it was acquired. Third condition is that it must be grazing animals. And a grazing animal is the one that is grazing on what is available for anyone. They graze in the open field that does not need cultivating, does not need to be cut for them throughout the entire year or most of the year. And the Prophet said this, alayhi salatu wassalam, in an authentic hadith with regard to zakat on sheep that graze, if there are 40 up to 120, one sheep would be given. And also the similar thing was said about the camels in different perspective and the likes. So if it is fed by the owner for the majority of the year, then there is no zakat in it. Because the owner, most of the year, let's say like 9 months of the year, is feeding it, and it's grazing like 3 months or less, then there is no zakat on it due to the cost it costs him to feed. Number 4 is that such livestock would not be working animals. And this is referring to hired out animals like camels and the likes. Then there is no zakat on it as mentioned earlier. The threshold was again mentioned, 5 for the camels, 30 for the cows, 40 for the sheep. How much must we give and how to calculate? This is something that might cause a lot of, not a lot, a little of confusion simply because we're not used to it. And it's related to fixed numbers. that we may not find the logic behind, but this is what was mentioned in the Sunnah, and this is what we must abide by. For example, what is the rate of zakat on camels? Now, in camels, if you have camels with the previously mentioned conditions, grazing, reaching the threshold, possessing them for one lunar year, this is how the zakat is calculated. Minimum is 5. So let's assume I have 5 camels. Up to 24. So if I have 5 camels, 6, 23, or 24, the zakat is the same. And that is 1 sheep for the whole amount. Whether I have 5 camels or I have 24. 1 year passes, I give 1 sheep as zakat. Okay, fair enough. Now, if the amount of livestock goes to 25 camels, so from 25 till 35, in this case, I have to give 1-year-old she camel. And the zakat is always given out as females. So a she camel that is 1 year old is due if I have the amount of 25 camels up to 35. What if I can't find a she camel? This is the only category that I can give a male camel, but it has to be 2-year-old male camel to be given out as zakat. So the norm is to give a 1-year-old she camel. If I'm unable to find that, then I give 25. 2-year-old male camel. Fair enough. Now, if I have 36 up to 45, whatever in between, the zakat is a 2-year-old she camel, not a 1 year. Okay, if I can't find 2-year-old, no, you have to buy one. You cannot give a male camel here, a male camel here. Okay, then we go on from 46 till 60. It's a 3-year-old she camel, only one. And from 61 to 75, in between, I have to give a 4-year-old she camel. And if I have a 67 or 76 to 90, now I have to give 2 camels of the age of 2 years, and it has to be she camels, not one. So from 76 camels that I possess, if I possess this number till 90, and a full year passes while they're grazing, I have to give 2 she camels of the age of 2 years each. And if I have a 91 camels up to 120, then I have to give 2 3-year-old she camels. So 2 camels, female camels, of the age of 3 years each. After 120, then it becomes systematic. If there are, after 120, every 40, we give a 1 year for every 40 camels. And a 2-year-old she camel must be given, and if it is for every 50 camels, a 3-year-old camel must be given. So again, this timetable is allocated from 5 to 120. Once we reach 120, the numbers become fixed. So after 120, for each, after 120, for every 40 camels extra over these 120, we give a she camel of 2 years old. And if it is 50 camels over the 120, we give one she camel of a 3-year-old age. هذا والله أعلم ونسبة العلم إليه أسلم وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله نبينا محمد.
يا راغبا في كل علم نافع
ينمو العلم ويتقدم بتقنياته ومجالاته، ومعه نطور أدواتنا في تقديم العلم الشرعي. أكاديمية
زاد أكاديمية ينبوعها صاف ليروي غلة الظمآن، وتعلم الفقه الميسر عاملا بالشرع دون تعصب لفلان. بشرى لنا زاد أكاديمية للعلم كالأزهار في البستان.